Adelia, and I'm going to be talking about phenylketonuria, inborn errors in metabolism with my partner, Lindsay. So, what is phenylketonuria? This is better known as PKU, and what I will be referring as PKU for the rest of the video is a rare inherited disorder that causes the amino acid phenylalanine to build up in one's body. So the phenylalanine hydrolysis gene, PAH, helps to create the enzyme needed to break down phenylalanine, which is a protein found in things such as red meat, eggs, dairy products, anything along that manner. And PKU is responsible for causing changes in the gene that disrupts this function. So in individuals that have PKU, the absence of the enzyme required to metabolize phenylalanine can result in harmful accumulation when they consume protein-rich foods or aspartame, which is an artificial sweetener found in things, usually soda or some kind of energy drink, anything along that manner. And this buildup can lead to significant health issues. And then throughout a person's life, if they have PKU, they're going to need to follow a special diet that doesn't contain any protein. And while there is no cure, there are newer medicines that allow certain individuals with PKU to have diets with higher unrestricted amounts of phenylalanine. Okay, so some stats. The occurrence rate and morbidity rate. So it's highest amongst Caucasians, with the incidence rate being approximately 1 in 10,000 births, and then within the US, and then worldwide 1 in 24,000 births. And then the African American population has the lowest rates of PKU with about 1 in 50,000. So for the mortality rates, it is estimated that it is about 33% higher in low income countries. And in total, it accounts for about 0.4% of all child deaths worldwide. And then the current rate of cure is not anything because there has not been a cure yet. However, there is treatment to prevent the disease from getting worse. Excuse me, my allergies are pretty bad right now. So, signs and symptoms. Children born with untreated PKU may seem initially healthy. However, they're going to start exhibiting signs between 3 to 6 months of this gene disorder. At this age, they start to show diminished interest in their environment. And then by the time they reach 1, they're going to start experience developmental delays and exhibit reduced skin pigmentations. If an individual goes untreated, and doesn't limit the phenylalanine from their diet, they risk significant intellectual and developmental disabilities. So, some symptoms would be fair skin, behavior, social problems, seizures, stunted growth, skin rashes like eczema, small head size, and then musty odors coming from the body, such as urine, breath, or skin. Okay. And then tests. So to get an accurate test result, the baby's going to need to have some protein from breast milk or formula a day to 3 days after birth. You want to make sure that the protein's able to get into the bloodstream. So healthcare providers, when the time is right, are going to prick your baby's heel and then get a few drops of blood. So why it's so important to schedule a doctor's appointment if you have a home birth is to get your baby tested for this and of course other things too, but you really want to make sure that you talk to a provider and get a PKU test scheduled as soon as possible. And if your baby's test results are abnormal, they're gonna see high levels of PHE and they're gonna run some more tests. And these tests may include just urine tests or blood tests, anything along that manner, and they will rule out whether it's PKU or not. All right, and I'm going to let Lindsay take over from here.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Campbell, and now I'll be presenting my part of the project. So first, how to get a diagnosis. As mentioned before in the previous slides by Adelia, blood tests are done in newborns, and they do this by heel sticking, and that's when you get a needle and you stick it into the heel, and that gives you blood from the newborn so that you can test it. Usually after that, there are screenings, and in the US, this is a requirement. For confirmation, if the blood tests do come back positive for PKU from the heel sticking, it is required that there are more testing through urine and genetics because there are different kinds of PKU. So you want to be sure what's going on. And other options, there are non-invasive prenatal testings that can be done during pregnancy. This is called chronic villus sampling, which can confirm PKU. So next, nutrition. If you are diagnosed with PKU, it is important to follow a very strict diet, and that only contains four food groups, which are vegetables, fruits, starches, and specialized juices for patients with PKU. The best diet to follow is a low-FA diet. This diet restricts foods high in the amino acid Fe or Phe, which is found in meat, poultry, fish, eggs, dairies, and nuts and legumes. Since dairy is restricted and you cannot have it if you have PKU, there are special juices made for individuals with PKU. These juices are called Nutritia Metabolics PKU Low Flex LQ juices. I hope I said that correctly. But these juices are low in volume, amino acid free, or that specific amino acid free, ready to drink formulas that follow the dietary management guidelines. Some other important things to note are that special protein formulas that do not contain the specific amino acid can still provide necessary amino acids while maintaining low levels of Phe. So the menu that I made, so it is important to remember some key notes. You need to avoid foods high in protein, so meat, poultry, fish, eggs, any dairy product, nuts, and legumes. You can only consume specialized formulated foods that are low or free of the specific amino acid, which I said before, the juices. And the picture here in the middle is what the juices look like. They're just little packets of little smoothie drinks. You need to include a lot of fruits and vegetables, and you need to consume lots of starchy food, bread, potatoes, pasta, and rice. And for us, we would think a lot of starch is bad, which it can be, but when you have this disease, that's the only way you're getting nutrients. So the menu that I made, I followed the guidelines from our previous activity where we made a menu for a specific age group. I chose the age group 6 through 12, but anyone with this error, like it's a lifelong disease. So you're gonna have to make a menu or diet that is lifelong for you. But since we're doing child nutrition, I focused mainly on the 6 through 12 age group. And I used that chart that was uploaded by our professor that helped you see the portion sizes for each group or age group. So for breakfast, for majority, I used a lot of the specialized juices, and they come in different flavors like orange, tropical, and berry. So for breakfast, for the majority, I used the juices and then like a half cup of sliced apples or grapes or bananas. So a fruit was included, and then a biscuit or a slice of like gluten-free such bread. And for pancakes and such like that, you have to have a low protein flour pancake. So for breakfast, I used one slice of low protein flour pancakes and then strawberry jam and then like cut vegetable or strawberry or fruit. So for snacks, I just did water for the most part because I didn't want to include too much juice and overdo it. So water, and then just a cup of carrots or celery or a peach or broccoli, things like that. For lunch, I included the juices again, and then I started doing like pastas with steamed broccoli and carrots or zucchini with like a tomato paste sauce, like pure tomato paste, because they can only have vegetables and fruits. You don't want to have any additives that make them have a reaction. And then I also made like a salad with a light vinaigrette and like a special ranch. I didn't really clarify what special ranch, but I'm assuming if you have this disease, you have to have something very low in additives. And then I did for snacks, again, like a mixed fruit salad, plain rice cakes, sweet potato, strawberry. So a lot of fruits and vegetables and starches and such. And then for dinner, finally, I added tomato soup, a baked potato, rice noodles, steamed vegetables, fruit salad again, and then vegetables, fruits, starches, you know. So if you want to get a closer look at this, you can pause this video. And then lastly, our articles. So we chose 6 articles that were published in the past 5 years, so they will be more current. I will say it was a bit hard to find articles because PKU hasn't been looked into since a few years back. But the ones that we did find, they focus mainly on the diet, what PKU is, how you can adjust to that lifestyle, what you need to do, how to get diagnosed. So it basically talks on what we talked about in this presentation, but into more detail. So if you want to learn more, these articles are a great resource and it taught me a lot about PKU. I never even knew that was really a disease until I did this project. So it's really cool and interesting getting insight on something that I had no idea about. But thank you so much for listening to our presentation.